Ready? Welcome back to the Andrea Giovino Show. We're going to jump right into it today and talk about love bombing, narcissists, flying monkeys, lying, and we got my good friend, Dr. Jenn and Toby. Hi, Jenn.
Let's not forget, Jenn was also married to a gangster.
A gangster?
Well, technically...
But a street guy.
Street guy. Yeah.
Street guy. So I wanted to get you on, Jenn, to because you know I've dealt with that in my ex. Mm-hmm. You know, typical narcissistic, sociopathic.
Yeah.
Calls me liar. You know.
Yeah. Always the victim, you know, we're the bad ones, and you know, they did nothing to, you know, none of this is their fault.
Nothing is their fault.
No, you know,
it's always everybody else.
Yes, always everybody else's fault.
And what I've noticed also with the narcissist, they have what you call, they say, flying monkeys. The flying monkeys are, if you're familiar with that term, if the audience isn't, I will educate them on it, is that it's family members that agree with everything of their lies of what they say.
Yeah.
All of their lies, the family members, instead of addressing them like I would address my brother and go, you're an effing liar. What are you doing? They go along, oh, no, yeah, my brother didn't do that. My brother was a good guy. She's a big liar. Yeah. That's the flying monkey. So... Yeah. You know, I don't know if you dealt with that, but...
I mean, you know, what's funny is that during the time, I wasn't dealing with it then. It was more after the math when I decided I wanted to break off our marriage and end the marriage, because he went to jail twice. It wasn't just once.
Right.
You would think he would have learned his lesson the first time, and he didn't. 10 years later, to the date, he was back in prison again.
Oh, yeah, because they don't change.
No, they don't change. A leopard never changes its spots. You know what? You could peel a snake. There's a saying: a snake could shed its skin, and but it's always going to be that same snake. It's always going to be that same snake. So he, you know, because I didn't chose to continue with the marriage, I became the villain. Why didn't you wait? Why didn't I wait? What didn't I do? I did it once already. How many times am I supposed to go through this and put my family through this and put my children through this?
Exactly.
And be alone.
Exactly.
I didn't get married to be by myself.
Exactly.
I didn't get married to raise kids by myself.
But even when they're out, I was always alone.
Yeah, me too.
Always
alone,
I
too.
was always in the house by myself while he's out with his friends doing whatever he wanted to do.
I was always alone, too.
And I was by myself. So I always say I was in a loveless, lifeless relationship. But for some reason or another, you know, all these lies get back to me in that she was a horrible person. She was, you know, the one that was no good. She's the big liar, when it's always them.
No, it's the truth. And I mean, like with him, you know what, we were good friends, and I trusted him. And you know what, anything else that I could say to him is that you just dropped the bomb, especially the second time, dropped the bomb on me. I found out maybe like 3 days before that he was going to get indicted, that this was happening. My friends had to tell me what was happening. He didn't tell me. I'm like, how do you sit there and not tell me what's going on?
And then, I don't know, they all cheat.
Well, I never directly caught him cheating, but I know he was.
Yeah. They knew.
I know he was.
They cheat, and then they tell the new supply, as I call it, the new supply, you know, she thinks he's this wonderful, charming, great.
Oh, yeah.
Educated businessman with money, and my ex-wife or my ex-girlfriends are all lying, and you know, I never felt love like I love you. And then I want to do these podcasts because I want to educate women not to jump into these sick men.
Every person that he's been with since me, he's done as soon as he starts dating somebody else, I'm a villain. I'm this. Then shit goes bad with them, and then now he wants to be back my friend again, or he wants to be involved in my life again. So let me ask you
to both of you the same question. Both of you could answer one after the next. How do women that are watching this today navigate through not making the same mistakes that both of you guys make? Because you both essentially ended up with the same type of man, same type of situation, similar circumstances. How does a woman that's in a similar situation, that's maybe getting involved with street guys, because a lot of times women, I mean, I'm sure you ladies were attracted to that
Charm.
flamboyant.
I still am,
charm.
which is sad. I mean,
Charm.
I can't help it. I still am.
See, I'm not. I'm so far beyond it. At
But-
this
You know,
point
I
in my
don't
life.
date. I don't date
know.
a street guy anymore. Well, I mean, but there's still people
Because they're
that
charming.
Yeah, they are
They're
charming.
charming.
They're
They're
swag. They
manipulative.
got the swag.
Right.
Yes, they got the swag. They do, which I like. But like, there was somebody that has wanted to date me in the last couple of months. And I said, am I going backwards dating somebody like this? I'm like, no, I'm not getting involved with this person because it's going to be the same old thing. And I said, I can't go backwards in my life.
Right. Now, I would say for me, you asked the question, I call it red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And the red flags are from how I educated myself and how I grew and learned from that type of person
Mm-hmm.
is the first stage is the love bombing stage. They come in, this is typical narcissists. They
Mm-hmm.
come in, I never met a love like you before.
Oh, God.
That's the jewelry.
Yeah.
Maybe they take you on a vacation. They shower you, open the car door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all the love bombing stage. So when a man does that, the best way I could explain to the audience for other women, those are red flags. That's nobody
Yeah.
loves you in 3 days. My
No.
ex told me in 3 days he was in love
Yeah.
with me. I wanted to believe that,
Yeah.
and I was
Right.
like, "Ooh, somebody loves me in 3 days."
Nobody loves you in 3 days.
Jen, exactly.
Nobody loves you in 3
What
days.
are we, 12 in the
No.
back of the schoolyard?
No, it's crazy.
I
And
mean,
it's
really.
funny because every relationship that I have seen him in after, it's the same thing.
It's the same pattern.
Same pattern. Same thing. I could write the book and say that, like, and say, oh my God, are you
So
kidding
that's
me?
kind of what I want to tell the women. Nobody's going to love you, ladies, within 3-4 days, even a week. Whatever baggage they left from their ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, whomever, they're bringing right into you.
100%.
Because they don't work on themselves
No.
to understand what went wrong in the relationship.
Right.
How can I better myself? How to, take time for you.
How about fixing your relationship with your children? How about
Thank
start
you. Oh,
start
my
with
God.
that first?
Jen-
Let's start with that first.
Jen, thank you.
If you don't have a relationship the right way with your children, how are you going to have a relationship with somebody else?
And not only
How?
that, how could a woman, I would know automatically, you don't have a relationship with your kids. What am I doing with you? Because
Exactly.
That would tell me
But that's why they
something.
go after younger girls, because the young girls are dumb.
There's a lot of dumb women in that sense.
Stupid.
The younger-
stupid women.
So
Stupid women.
is it dumb women, or is it smoke and mirrors and a certain presentation that a narcissist knows how to portray themselves in a certain manner where they could charm you? Essentially, whether it be the looks,
The
money,
clothes,
the
the money.
clothes, the sweet talk charm. I mean,
All
we
the-
have to be.
actually,
all the
all
above.
It's
So
all
all the above.
So essentially, at the end of the day, what are the signs? And it's like you're both saying, all right, well, how's the relationship with the children, right? How's the relationship with other people? What's their history? What's their background?
with other people, I'm going to say street angel, house devil.
Yeah.
They're a street angel in the streets. People love them. But
Yeah.
then come into the family life, and there's so many problems there. And then the facts are, what were for me, I have my son, you know him.
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with every one of my kids.
Yeah.
My ex doesn't.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Well, that's
But you know what he says? My kids are grown adults. Oh, my ex-wife turned them against me.
that's what he's. Oh my God!
No, I didn't.
I said they're adults. How can I turn them against you? They realize now what you are.
Thank you.
Your word is not Bible anymore.
Thank you.
They're done with your mesmerization, because they also manipulate the children too.
Exactly.
To believing that we're the
my
bad
son
ones
says
too.
to me, I'm 36 years old. I'm a grown ass man.
I make my own decisions.
I don't tell my son what to do.
No.
My daughter the same. She's
Me
like me,
neither.
very strong will. I can't tell her what to
Right.
do.
I can't tell my children what to do. It's not my fault if they see you now that they're grown, for how you are. I'm
So
sorry.
let me ask you these questions. So what is a young woman, a young lady, what do they do to find the right guy in today's world? What are the signs that you're looking for and trying to find
Well,
the
first
right
I'll
guy?
stay away from street guys.
Street- yeah, thank you,
That's good
Jen.
advice right there.
I love you.
Stay away from them.
Yes.
That's
number one.
rule number one. And maybe, you got to make sure that the person that you're with or you're going to start dating is not a narcissist. And there's signs that you could definitely tell if somebody's a narcissist.
And there's so much education out there
Yeah.
today. There are so many sites between TikTok, between YouTube,
Yeah.
between Instagram of people like me.
Right here on the Andrea
Right here,
Givino
right
show.
on the
Yes.
Andrea
We got it
Givino
right here.
show. I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep bringing it to the forefront, and I'm going to educate women on these men are not good people.
No.
They are not good people. First of all, another thing, when you are in love with a person and you truly love them, you don't jump into a relationship weeks later.
No.
Who does that?
To say certain people are not good people, they just might not be good in a relationship. So,
Right.
No, and also they can't be alone. That's
They
the
can't
other
be
thing.
alone.
And they need somebody that they could be performative to.
Right.
Perform their bullshit. Because that makes
bullshit.
them feel better. Because if they feel
Right.
like that person is like, oh my God.
He's such a great
wow,
guy.
he's the greatest.
He's so
He's
handsome.
He's handsome. He's
Yeah.
he's got money. He's got this.
money.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
they've 90% and 99% of them don't have a pot to piss in.
Thank you.
And
It
a
sounds
window
like-
to throw out of it.
Thank you.
So anybody who
coming from a successful woman.
Coming from a successful
anybody who he
doctor.
dates, I know they think that what I have, he has. That's what I believe, and he's presenting it to them. That
Right.
They see my kids drive nice cars. They see what they have, so they're looking at the young girls, anybody that they're looking at like, hey, he must be well to do. So
Right.
I got it made in the shade. You
Right.
know what I mean? And that's all bullshit. It's all like, again, smoke and mirrors. It's all bullshit.
So let me
No,
get-
but I want to answer this question. You said, how do you pick up a nice guy? What I've learned with age, if I was dating, but I choose not to, okay, is
too.
that I choose not to, Jen.
Right now,
we've
you know
had
what
this
is with me?
conversation.
I want to be in a relationship with myself.
Exactly.
Right now.
And
I have somebody who's there. It's complicated, but I'm like, you know what it is? It's like I got to be in a relationship with myself and be okay with myself.
And
right
we've
now.
talked about this. We have other friends, female friends, that are also successful, like us, in that are just good women that want to just hang out with themselves. Women
Yeah.
are becoming stronger and understanding they don't
true.
need to have a man to feel like
Validation.
whole. Right.
You don't need validation.
So the facade. So essentially, women need to stay away from the facade of the cars, the money, the jewelry, and they need to look at the individual person of who they are as a person. Essentially, I'm getting that's
Or
what you're
give
both
time,
saying.
Give time,
Give time.
That's,
And you'll see the
Don't jump
right-
in.
No.
don't jump in.
You'll see how they treat their
How they treat their exes.
and how they treat their children. That's number one.
Right.
That
and
is
also,
number
what's
one.
important for me today, if I were to date, my son could tell you, I'm in church all the time. I am very grounded with the Lord, very, very grounded. And that's who I'm in love with. I'm in love with myself and the Lord. And I feel I've changed my life totally around in that sense. And I would want him to be a good Christian man.
Yeah.
Like someone that has the values that I have. Someone that's a Catholic, someone that wants to go to church, someone that wants to travel.
How about somebody who wants to do something with you?
Do
Actually,
something.
how about it's not always about them and what they want to do. How about it's about something that we want to do?
I love for you to elaborate on that because so many women have to deal with that.
It's crazy.
It's that it's all about them.
Yep.
Their needs.
Yep.
And you just sit home and I'll throw you some crumbs and
Yep.
you're lucky I'm even with you.
Exactly.
What?
No.
What?
No.
My self-esteem is up here.
Yep.
Okay? It's a privilege for you to even sit at my dinner
That's right.
table. And if my
That's
ex
right. crosses
the line and looks to provoke, he will not be at that dinner table.
So you two ladies are type A personalities.
Very.
You have both been on TV shows. You know, Jen, why don't you tell us about some of your? I know you've been.
You
on
recently
you've done
did some
different
good
stuff.
shows.
Yes. So recently, I did Below Deck. So I'm going to be on the St. Martin season and the Mediterranean season, which
Nice.
is going to be really fun, which is going to be good. And I've been asked I've been on 90 Day Fiance.
Right.
I was on Jersey Shore. I've been on different shows. I just find it like I like reality TV to a point where if I'm gonna do something, it's got to be something that's positive. I can't be involved in something that's negative.
No, because you're a fun person. You're a fun person.
If I don't want the ugly to come out of me, because
No.
that's bad. The ugly coming out of me is
No,
an
and you're
awful
not
thing.
like that anyway.
I
You're
don't
a
want
woman's
to.
woman.
Yeah,
You're like
I
me.
don't
You
wanna
love women.
I do, and I don't want to see. I don't want to see women down. I
No.
don't want to hurt them.
No.
Unless somebody's trying to hurt me, obviously. But why would I want to put myself in a situation situation where somebody wants to hurt me.
No.
That would be stupid to put yourself in that type of situation.
No,
that they're
I actually
they're out to
feel
get you
I
or
actually
whatever.
feel bad for the women that get involved with these men, because I know what I've been through. I know what you've been through. I know what other friends have been through, and it's really disgusting. It really is. It makes me sick. That's why I want to keep up these shows and educate women on what narcissist is, to let them know that, hey, listen, he's never changing.
No.
He's not changing for you or anybody else. And I've always said that in every interview. He's never going to change. He's in love with him.
He's in love with himself. He doesn't care about anything
Anything
else.
else.
That's the truth.
Did you know when you were getting married the first time, and I know you were attracted to street guys, but did you know you were marrying a street guy at that point in time, the first time?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Now-
I didn't know how bad
But you were making a lot of money always. You were a worker.
Well, I was in school to be a nurse at the time, so I went back to school to become a nurse.
Right.
So I knew eventually I was going to be making good money to
Right.
be a nurse at the time. But and I always worked. I never was a person who never worked. I never sat home. I
Right.
was always a go-getter, and I was always in school. I always went back to school. I have
Right.
I have my business degree. I have an MBA. I have
Right.
now I have my doctorate. So,
Right.
but. I know, yes, but I didn't know how bad it was until when he got arrested. When they arrested him, and when I went into that courtroom and I saw the papers stacked up to here, because he got arrested on a big case. He was arrested on it was a securities fraud in Wall Street, and it was like that was one of the that was
Yes,
the
I
first
remember.
arrest.
Yes,
They
I remember
arrested
that. I
87
remember
people
that case.
morning.
Yes,
and
and
I was
yes.
in a custody battle. Let me tell you how I almost lost my daughter because of him.
Wow.
I was in a custody battle to keep, and it's funny because my ex, who I was in the custody battle with, we are friends now. We're good. We're all good. We're all good. We all, we keep a nice to each other. But he was probably jealous because he probably still wanted to be with me anyway, and I didn't want to be with him. But whatever. He comes out of MDC. He's the first one that walks out and gets a picture of himself right on MDC on the front page of the New York Post. He walks out, and my daughter's father brings it to court and says, "Look, he's under indictment." I go, "Of course, you have to be the first person to walk out of the courtroom, and you got a picture taken of you," because it was a big case. It was a lot of people were arrested. A lot of people went to jail in that case. It was,
Was that the boiler room case?
the boiler room case. Yep, it was
okay.
bad. It was a
Okay.
bad case. He had concurrent sentences. He's lucky, and the reason why he got more time was because of who he was affiliated with.
Exactly.
And they knew he was around people. Other people ratted on him, so he got more time. This one guy, he helped him because he owed some wise guy money, and my ex-husband helped him.
Right.
He wound up ratting on him and saying, "Oh, he's around this one and that one. He's this, he's that," and then they wound up giving him more time.
Wow.
And that happened to quite a few people because all these brokers, they were from Brooklyn and from Howard Beach and Staten Island, and they were around people.
So the audience could know, Toby, this is a highly educated woman, doctor, deals with women, and yet she got pulled into the web
Yep.
of being manipulated by this type of personality.
Yeah.
And, it's just
Yes, it's the narcissistic personality that knows how to suck and draw
suck the life out of
a
you.
woman in, but
Yeah.
they know how to charm a woman, and and reality is, at the end of the day, that's what you've both been
Oh yeah.
drawn to, because.
But supposedly we're both liars.
But now
We're liars.
now-
We're liars.
Terrible.
I'm a terrible person.
I'm a bad mother.
Yes,
I am
she turned my kids against me.
I'm
I'm all these
evil.
bad things.
I'm
yeah,
evil.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
sure
no.
you guys didn't live in the same house?
I feel like we did. I feel like we did.
I feel
live
like
in
it was the
house.
same guy.
Yeah, it was the same type of guy. That's
Same guy.
exactly what it was. A narcissistic sociopath that only
Yes.
cares about him.
Only cares
themselves.
about himself.
And then these guys will never get out of their own way. They'll never be.
No.
And there's always going to be a problem. They're always going to.
Yes.
They're going to do well, and then it's going to fall apart. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
they're going to try something else,
And
and
it's
going to
gonna
fall
fall
apart.
apart.
Because they don't know how to do things. They should. You know what? He should have stayed. He was in school. He was a smart guy. instead and become, he should have been like a sports agent, because that's what he was
But
really
even
good
in the
at.
stock market, there's big money. You can make legitimate money
But
in the stock
no,
market.
but it was why do you have to? They brought the whole mafia down to the Wall Street, and what do you think? Why do you think? What do you think happened? And that's why everybody got arrested.
Yeah.
What do you think
That's
is
what
gonna
they
happen?
did.
Because they
brought
don't want
them
to
all
hear.
down,
They
yeah.
don't want to hear. Yeah, shorting stocks. They don't want to hear that shit.
Right.
They want their money, and they have to get their money. And
Right.
then there you go. And then that's why.
That's how everybody got
87
arrested.
people got arrested that morning.
They pump and dump.
I
They
mean,
pump
but
and dump.
Toby, on your point of view, as not just a man, a grown man, as my son, you see what it does to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen.
You see what it does to your brother and sister.
Take that out of the equation. Let's just talk about any woman. It doesn't have to be mafia. So we're talking about
Right.
narcissists today, right? Any woman that gets themselves involved in a relationship where they're not being treated right, by a man, and there's certain signs of what was being referred to as a narcissistic personality. How do they avoid that? How do they avoid getting into that again? And, what are the signs to look for? I think the signs to look for in any person, male or female, whatever it may be, and we could be talking about relationship, we could be talking about business. It's characteristics of a person. Who is that person at the end of the day?
Make sure they were never incarcerated.
Yeah, because when they're incarcerated, you already know.
They have Peter Pan syndrome too, because they get stunted when they go away. They still are the same age when they come out.
Okay, immature.
So immature.
So immature.
So immature.
Yeah, it's so immature. I have to run into my ex at my daughter's house because he comes and he sees the grandkids, and he's a great grandfather. I'm gonna give him
Do
that.
you guys get along?
We
Do
always,
you have
we
like,
always
do you
did.
have like holidays together and stuff?
We always did get along till he got back involved with another brother of mine, an evil one that bad-mouthed me. And then the two of them, narcissists, also.
It's
okay,
true.
It's true.
It's true. There you go.
The two of them make up lies about me.
All right,
Okay.
let's move to the
No.
narcissistic subject.
So
Can we
now-
go back to what we were
No,
talking about?
wait.
I like this. This
No.
is good
So
stuff.
This is
now,
gonna turn into a
no,
fight.
the audience is
I wanna
going
see
to
if
like
this
Why
it.
you're gonna fight?
I'm going to be the one getting punched.
No,
anyway.
the audience is going to like it because the truth is going to come out. So do I get along with him? I tried to get along with him for my kids' sake and for my grandkids' sake. But when you talked about immature,
Yeah.
he makes like he was the victim and I'm the bad person. Like, are you...
It's the same story with me. He's the victim.
He's the
I'm
victim and I'm
evil
the...
one.
Yeah, and I did all these bad
Right.
things.
I did this horrible stuff. That never acknowledges what he did.
Oh, yeah.
Never thank you. Not a thank you.
Never a thank you
Not
and
a
never-
thank you.
Right now, I'm the victim. Maybe you could tell me. Maybe you could tell me. All right, what do I got to
Well, let
look
me ask
for?
you, as a child, a product of this type of environment, were you at a point where did you think that your mother was the bad person because your father would say that to you and instill that in you, or did you or you were like on the fence?
I grew up in a hostile environment of, it wasn't just my father. My father was a street guy. Family members, various uncles, friends, stepfather, everybody that I was around. I don't want to say everybody, but many of the people that I was around were, come from that element of street organized crime.
Where'd you guys grow up, in Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, Staten Island.
Okay.
Mostly.
And that's the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Howard Beach.
Howard
that was like
Beach,
it was
yeah.
like the ground zero.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
of what was going on.
We grew up, when everybody everybody around us was street people. Everyone,
Yeah.
like that's where we grew up. That's
Yeah.
all my friends. I still have friends today.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they weren't good people.
No,
There's a lot of
I
people, but
loved
you go-
loved where I grew up.
Yeah,
I
me
loved
too.
that I was there. I loved the neighborhood
Right.
thing. I loved, I'm not going to say that I didn't, and I still live there, and I
Right.
still have many people that
Right.
it's comforting. It's a comforting
and
thing.
it's part of our culture. I
Right.
feel.
But I also feel now, because I'm not that same like stay-at-home housewife, if
Right.
you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call me, a mob wife, whatever you want to call me. I don't think I'm.
Right.
I mean, I don't even want to say that because it's such a derogatory term. But I'm not that stay-at-home person anymore. Now that I've evolved, and now I am a doctor. I have businesses,
Right.
and that like I feel like I'm not in that. I don't relate to that lifestyle anymore.
I
Like,
can't.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
I'll
wouldn't
go
be
back,
able to.
Like I'll go hang out in the neighborhood restaurant
Yeah.
where we all hang out, and I'm like, and it's nice to see everybody, but Can I see me sitting there every Friday night?
No.
Talking about old war stories that happened in 1980s?
But they love to talk
They
about.
do.
They love it. They
love
idolize
it.
to
Oh, my
talk
God.
about the mob stories. They
love
love
it.
it. They
They
prison
love it.
stories. They
Yeah.
check and see if their prison friends are getting out. It's
Yeah.
the sickest thing ever.
But the moral of the story here is,
did you know I was mentioned in Mobland? Like, I mean, it's like,
Oh,
you know,
really?
like,
That you should be proud of?
Come on, like, stop.
Really?
But, you know, like, it's
that's what they look up to, though, Jen. I mean, so here's the crazy part, and just
And not
coming
that it's
from-
bad. I don't want any of my friends to get mad at me.
No,
over that.
we're
That's
just-
your
nobody's
life.
getting
That's
mad, right.
That's your life. That's fine. But that's not my life.
That's not- you're
anymore.
not life
When
anymore.
you
My
grow
life
up in that
anymore.
element, in that environment, that's what. So you
That's all you
aspire
know.
to be a doctor. I aspire to be a self-employed businessman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mother aspires to be, you know, an author and a TV personality. You know, these people from these communities, that's what they aspire to be. At the end of the day, is a gangster.
true. Yeah.
And that's how they're grown up. That's how they're groomed. That's how they're trained.
Yep.
And that's how they treat
And it's
their
looked
women.
up to
It
in
is.
the neighborhood.
Well, think about it. They are like the movie stars.
Yes.
I mean, they are.
Yes, I say
They
that.
are.
I
Yeah,
say
so-
that when I do my documentaries.
I'll
I
tell
say
you
that.
a funny
It's not
story,
a
a
lie.
quick story. I went on a few dates with Ryan Klesko. I don't know if you know who he is. You might know. He was an Atlanta Brave, and
Okay.
that year they won. He's actually the reason why they lost the World Series because he missed the ball. So he's the one who lost to the Yankees, and the Yankees
Okay.
finally won. Finally, after all these years. But anyway, so I dated him, and I was funny. We would go out on a date with his security guard. And my girlfriend worked at this place called American Pie in Atlanta, and we were all there, and he pulls out an American Express card, and it was a green card. And I look at him, and I go,
Because they will pay with the
Ew.
wad of cash.
I go, ew. I go, oh, you have this duty American Express card? And he goes, well, what do you mean? What about? I said, the guys I hang out with
Of
come out with
wads
wads
of
of cash
cash.
like this.
Exactly.
And they spend more money than you do.
Right.
And like, knowing from where I come from,
Right.
like looking at that. So this was
but
like.
because they live the fast life
Yes,
with the wad of
yes.
cash.
They live the fast life, but you see how like that emulates
Right.
out of it. And I remember just thinking about like the guys in our neighborhood
Right.
would come out with throwing hundreds on a bar, and this guy's coming out with
Yeah,
his
yeah.
green American Express card, going, ew, like where's your rubber band with all your money around it?
Oh,
you know,
it's
like it's funny,
disgusting.
but
Yeah,
but
it's
then they emulate that, so of course everybody
And some of
looked
and
up
a
to
lot
them,
a lot
right?
of them still
Yes.
do that. They instead of like everybody uses businessmen today. You go out with the businessman, he uses a card.
Yeah.
Nobody takes out wads of cash no
No.
more. That is so looked down upon. You look like a criminal.
It depends on what type of business.
But
you're
it
in.
really annoys me when people come and pay. I have to take out a credit card for a coffee. That
Oh, that's
bothers me.
ridiculous.
That bothers me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's ridiculous.
That's because it's where you're from. And listen, I'm a cash guy. I mostly, you know, a lot of times when I'm out, if I'm buying a coffee or a pizza
Yeah.
or something, it's cash.
Me too. I like
you
to
know,
use
Yeah,
cash.
but at the end of the day, what I see in business a lot, especially when you get out of New York.
Oh, it's
So
always
when you get
swiping.
out of New York, forget the cash thing. So the
Yeah.
wads of money that guys have in New
I
York.
think it's an Italian thing.
It's an
the cash
Italian
thing.
thing
They feel
in
like
New
it's
York.
cash.
it is. It's a good feeling.
They feel. I think because the Italians themselves, forget about just the wise guys. The Italians themselves, they feel like they've made it. If they have this
Right.
wad of cash and they have it,
Right.
that's just our persona. It's just
Yeah.
always been
I could
like
tell you,
that.
I could have 90,000 in checks
Yeah.
sitting on the table, but if I got a $10,000 wad of cash
That feels
sitting
good.
right
So
there,
much better.
and I could
Think about
grab
it.
that wad of cash
and
in
hold
my
it in your
hand,
hand
Yeah.
it's
and sniff
wow.
it.
Right.
All right.
Even if it's dirty, we don't care.
That
we
wad
don't care
of
how
cash
filthy it is.
Feels
I
a
rub it all
lot better
over
than
me.
that money that might be 10 times more. right in
Yes,
front of
right?
me.
Doesn't it feel good
There's
to carry
just
that
something
wine?
about it. I don't
It is.
know
There's
what it
something
is.
about it. The smell of money. It's just whatever it is.
But reality of it is, at the end of the day, I'll take the checks.
Yeah, me too. I'll take the Venmos. Don't worry about it.
Well,
I'll take them.
We're going to close out. Thank you so much, Jen, for coming. But Jen, do you want to tell the audience anything else about you? What else you do, or the shows, your business?
I mean, I have. Well, you can all find me at Dolce Aesthetics New York on Instagram, TikTok, and I also have my own podcast called Cats and Pudding that I film at WABC Radio, and you were on the show.
Yes,
too.
I was on the show.
Let's see, and I have some stuff in the works. I've been actually offered the last couple of weeks some stuff. I can't believe it. All of a sudden, it just happened that I got
That's
offered
what
a couple of
happens.
things, and I'm also going to be in Great Kills with Steve.
With Steve. Steve. Yes,
Yeah,
I love
so-
Steve. We were just talking about Steve.
Great
before.
guy.
Yeah, love him. Yeah.
So
So
you're a producer on that as well.
I'm a
right?
producer
Yes,
on it.
yes.
That's my next life career. That's what I want to do.
it's
I
so
wanna do
funny.
production.
It's so funny how
Yes.
Steve and I are really good friends for many years, and then her and I met, and I was the both like, oh, well, we know each other through Steve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah. So
But see, you didn't raise a narcissist, which is
no, none of my
See
sons
that?
are the narcissists.
How do
no.
you know, Jen? Be
Because
careful.
I could tell. No,
No,
you could
he's a
tell.
gentleman. He's a
when
gentleman.
you were with the narcissist, you could tell.
You could
who's a
just
narcissist.
tell. You really
That's so
can.
true.
Well, thank you, Jesus, and we will see you next
bless.
time. Press that subscribe button, and lots more to come. Bye.
That was good.
Yeah.